Welcome back to Mighty Habits, everybody. I'm Steven, and I'm excited for today's deep dive.
I'm Mary, and I'm excited too.
Today, we're going to be talking about happiness,
We
and
are.
specifically a book called The Art of Happiness.
Yes, by the Dalai Lama.
Now, when I first heard we were going to be covering this, I thought,
Oh, really?
what could a spiritual leader like the Dalai Lama really tell me about happiness?
Right.
In like a modern world, like what practical advice could he give?
Exactly.
But I was really surprised
Me?
when I started to read a summary of it.
Yeah, the Dalai Lama really has a unique perspective on happiness.
Yeah, he says it's not about fleeting moments or, just luck.
Yeah, it's not about what happens to you.
Right.
It's more about like a skill, something we can actually develop.
Oh, so like a skill.
Yes.
So you're saying it's something that you can practice,
Exactly. You can cultivate it like a garden.
like a garden. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what does practicing happiness look like?
Well, he talks a lot about mental training.
Mental training, what's that?
It's kind of like the idea that, true happiness, it comes from inside.
Okay.
Like from inner peace and learning how to like manage your own thoughts and emotions.
Okay, so it's more about what's going on inside rather than
Yeah.
what's happening on the outside.
Yeah, like external stuff doesn't matter as much.
Interesting. So instead of trying to, control the outside world, you're saying it's more about,
Yeah, working on your inner world.
like, what kind of mental training are we talking about here?
So one thing he emphasizes is mindfulness meditation.
Oh, mindfulness meditation. I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's basically about learning how to like observe your thoughts and feelings,
Okay.
but without judgment.
So just letting them be.
Yeah, exactly.
I've noticed in my own life, sometimes I just get
Yeah.
so caught up in these like negative thoughts.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah. And it's easy to get swept away
It is.
by that and kind of believe everything that you're thinking.
Right, like your thoughts become your reality.
Yeah. But when I can take a step back and just notice,
Yeah,
it's like hitting the pause button
yeah.
on, this runaway train of worry.
Exactly, you start to gain control over them.
So mindfulness is one way to do this mental training.
It is, and it's a really important one.
Okay. So we work on our inner world. We practice mindfulness.
Yes.
What else is there?
Well, the Dalai Lama, he also connects this inner work to our relationships.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he believes that cultivating compassion and kindness
Okay.
is crucial for true happiness.
Compassion and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is he just talking about being nice to people or?
It's more than that.
Okay, so there's more to it.
It's deeper.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he talks about this Buddhist concept of interconnectedness.
Interconnectedness.
Yeah, it's like this idea that we are all connected.
Okay.
And our actions, they have an effect on others.
Okay. I think I understand.
So when we recognize that interconnectedness,
Yeah.
we start to care more about others.
Sure.
It's not just about like doing good deeds.
Oh, I see.
It's more about a shift in our mindset,
Okay.
like a genuine concern for the well-being of everyone.
So it's about seeing beyond ourselves
Exactly.
and recognizing that everyone's on their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So it's not just about me.
Right.
It's about understanding that other people have their own struggles too.
Everyone's going through something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see how that could lead to a deeper kind of happiness.
It's not as superficial.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
we've got compassion. What about
Yeah.
those tough emotions,
Yeah.
anger and sadness?
Right.
You can't just wish those away, can you?
No, you can't. And the Dalai Lama actually doesn't advocate for suppressing them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he suggests something totally different.
Okay, I'm curious.
He says we should actually lean into those feelings.
Lean in.
Yes, and investigate them.
Now, that goes against everything I've ever been told.
I know, it's counterintuitive.
When I feel angry or sad, the first thing I want to do is run away.
Yeah, we're kind of programmed to avoid unpleasant feelings.
Exactly. So why would we lean in?
He believes that those emotions hold valuable information.
Oh, okay.
He uses the analogy of physical pain.
Physical pain.
Yeah, when we feel physical pain, it's like a signal
Yeah.
that something's wrong
Okay.
and we need to pay attention to it.
Right.
He says that emotional pain works in a similar way.
So those negative emotions,
Yeah.
they're not the enemy.
Exactly.
They're messengers.
Yeah.
They're trying to tell us something.
Exactly. They're trying to give us information.
So instead of running away from them,
Yeah.
we should try to understand them.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do we do that?
Well, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed with anger.
Okay.
Instead of just suppressing it,
Mm-hmm.
you could ask yourself,
Yeah.
why am I feeling this way? What's triggering this?
Interesting.
What unmet need or expectation
Yeah.
might be at the root of this feeling.
Okay. So it's about understanding
Yeah.
the root cause of the emotion.
Exactly, not just reacting to it.
Okay. That makes sense. But I think we need to dig a little deeper into this idea
I agree.
of, transforming these negative emotions.
It's a big topic.
So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll dive into that.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
Welcome back. And, it really is amazing how the Dalai Lama's teachings can be both, profound and practical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're totally right about that. I mean,
Yeah.
we were just discussing how he actually encourages us to, examine these negative emotions instead of trying to just bury them or ignore them. And honestly, I got to say, I'm still a little skeptical about this whole leaning into anger or sadness.
Yeah.
I mean, how can that lead to happiness?
Right. It definitely goes against what we usually think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Our instinct is to run away from those bad feelings.
Totally. So what's the Dalai Lama's thinking there?
Well, he believes that even those unpleasant feelings can teach us something.
Oh, interesting.
He uses the example of physical pain. Like when you touch a hot stove and you feel that pain, it's a signal that something's wrong.
Right. Don't touch the stove.
Exactly. And he says emotional pain is similar.
Okay, so instead of seeing anger or sadness as these enemies that we have to fight, he's saying we should see them as messengers.
Exactly. They're trying to tell us something.
Okay, so they're not the enemy.
Right.
They're trying to help us in a way.
Yeah, they're like signals that something needs attention.
So let's say I'm feeling super angry.
Yeah.
What would I do instead of, yelling or punching a pillow?
Well, you could pause for a moment and ask yourself, what's making me so angry? What's really going on here?
So it's about trying to understand what's underneath that anger.
Exactly.
Okay, but sometimes it's hard to be honest with ourselves.
It is.
Especially when we're feeling all those strong emotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we get better at that?
Well, the Dalai Lama emphasizes the importance of self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Yeah, it's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. Okay, so it's like being gentle with yourself.
Exactly.
Even when you mess up or you're feeling down.
And from that place of self-compassion, you can start to look at your emotions more objectively.
So it's like creating some space
Yeah.
to actually see those emotions clearly.
Exactly.
Without getting totally overwhelmed.
Right.
Okay, so what would that look like in a real life situation?
Well, let's say you're super anxious about giving a presentation at work.
Oh yeah, I can relate to that.
Right. So instead of letting that anxiety take over, you could ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Is that really likely?
Okay, so it's about challenging those negative thoughts, bringing in some logic and reason.
Yeah, exactly. And the Dalai Lama says that when we do this repeatedly, we actually get better at handling those tough emotions.
So it's like working out a muscle.
It is. It's like building mental resilience.
I like that, building mental resilience.
Yeah, so it's not about never feeling anger or sadness.
All right, we're not trying to be robots. Exactly. It's about having the skills to navigate those emotions.
Okay, so we're not suppressing those emotions.
Reel
We're learning
in.
to understand them and work with them.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important part of his teaching.
Okay, what's that?
The power of perspective.
Perspective.
Yeah, when we're stuck in our own little bubble,
Yeah.
it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Right. Our problems can feel huge.
They can feel all-consuming.
Exactly.
But the Dalai Lama reminds us to step back and ask ourselves, how does this look from a wider perspective?
So like zooming out on a map
Exactly.
and seeing that the traffic jam you're in isn't such a big deal.
Right. It's just one tiny part of a much larger journey.
I love that analogy.
And this shift in perspective, it can
Yeah.
also help us be more compassionate towards ourselves and others.
Okay, so.
When we remember that everyone's facing their own challenges, it's easier to let go of judgment and resentment.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we actually cultivate this broader perspective?
Well, one practice he recommends is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, taking the time to appreciate the good things,
I've heard about that.
even when things are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes gratitude feels like a chore, you know?
I know what you mean.
Like something you're supposed to do.
Yeah, not genuine.
Exactly. So how do we make it more authentic?
Well, the Dalai Lama suggests making it a regular practice,
Oh, okay.
even when you don't feel particularly grateful.
So even when you're not feeling it.
You might start by just noticing one small thing you appreciate each day.
Okay.
Maybe it's the sunshine or a good meal or a kind word from someone.
So starting small.
Yeah, and over time,
Yeah.
this can actually rewire your brain to focus more on the positive.
Interesting. So it's like training your mind to look for the good
Exactly.
instead of focusing on the negative.
Right.
I like that.
And gratitude has been shown to have all sorts of benefits.
Like what?
It can reduce stress, boost happiness, even improve your physical health.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it also connects back to that idea of interconnectedness.
Oh, right. Because when we're feeling grateful,
Yeah.
it's easier to be kind to others.
Exactly. It creates this ripple effect of positivity.
I love that. So we've covered mental training, compassion perspective, gratitude.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But what about those times when life just throws you a curveball
Yeah.
and you're really struggling to find any happiness?
That's a good question.
What does the Dalai Lama say about those times?
Well, he's very honest about the fact that suffering is part of life.
Right.
He doesn't shy away from that.
So he acknowledges that we're not going to be happy all the time.
Exactly. And he offers a really interesting perspective on how to deal with those tough times.
Okay, I'm really interested to hear this because those are the times when I need help the most.
Yeah, we all do.
So how do we find our way through those dark periods?
Well, he reminds us that even the most difficult experiences are temporary.
Okay, that's a good reminder.
They won't last forever.
Yeah, but sometimes it feels like they will.
I know it can feel that way.
So how do we hold on to that sense of hope when things are really tough?
Well, one thing he suggests is to practice mindfulness.
Mindfulness again.
Yeah, but this time it's about being mindful of your thoughts and emotions when you're suffering.
Okay, so not just when things are going well.
Right, because when we're in pain,
Yeah,
our minds tend to get flooded with negative thoughts,
totally.
and we can get swept away by them.
Yeah, it's like a downward spiral.
Exactly. So mindfulness helps us to create some distance from those thoughts. It's
Okay.
like watching clouds pass by.
So you're not trying to stop the thoughts.
No,
You're just observing them.
exactly. You're acknowledging their presence without letting them control you.
Okay, that makes sense.
And from that place of observation,
Yeah.
you can start to shift your perspective.
Okay, how do we do that?
The Dalai Lama suggests asking yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I grow from this?
Wow, so he's saying that even suffering can be an opportunity for growth.
Exactly. It's like turning a negative into a positive.
That's powerful.
And it ties back to the idea of happiness as a skill.
Oh, yeah.
Because the more we practice this mindful reflection and perspective shifting,
Mm-hmm.
the better we get at handling those tough situations.
So it's like building our resilience muscles.
Exactly.
But let's be real, there are times when it's hard to find any good in a situation.
Yeah, there are.
So what about those times when you're just feeling lost and hopeless?
Well, in those moments,
Yeah.
the Dalai Lama emphasizes the importance of compassion.
Compassion.
Yeah, both for yourself
Okay.
and for others who are suffering too.
So remembering that we're not alone in this.
Exactly. Everyone goes through tough times.
And instead of isolating ourselves,
Yeah.
he's saying we should connect with others
Mm-hmm.
and recognize our shared humanity.
Exactly. And he also suggests that acts of kindness,
Ugh.
even small ones, can be really helpful in those dark times.
Like how?
Well, it could be something simple like listening to a friend who's going through a hard time, or volunteering in your community, or donating to a cause you care about.
So it's about focusing on helping others.
Yeah, and those acts of kindness,
Mm-mm.
they create a ripple effect of positivity.
It's like you're spreading the good vibes.
Exactly. And it brings us back to the main message of the art of happiness,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is that true happiness isn't about chasing pleasure or avoiding pain.
Right. It's deeper than that.
Yeah, it's about inner peace, compassion, and a strong spirit.
A strong spirit that can handle anything life throws at you. I
Exactly.
really love that.
Me too.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much about happiness,
I'm glad.
and I'm definitely going to be checking out The Art of Happiness myself.
You should. It's a great book.
And for all of you listening,
Yeah.
if you're looking for more ways to build habits that transform your life,
Be sure to subscribe to Mighty Habits.
we've got lots more deep dives coming your way.
We do.
So until next time, keep practicing the art of happiness.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, everybody.